Okay, Mark, I spoke to the consultant and he said we need spin-offs of our podcast. Now, his first concept for you is called Viking Viagra, where you examine the relationship challenges with your favorite sports team when it can't perform. You'll share stories about the same hidden shame and embarrassment and blaming yourself.
Interesting. For you?
Mine is a podcast called Lawyers Who Launder. It's for lawyers working from home. I'll have tips on how to handle the loads of work and laundry, like how to press a witness and a suit, how to get your whites and briefs done together, and when to hang and when to fold.
Fascinating. Anything else?
Yes, this one is for both of us. It's called Manscaping for Millions. We use our podcast to offer listeners a franchise opportunity called Manvis. It's a chain of chest hair styling salons where trained stylists shave, sculpt, and dye the body hair into cartoon characters or team mascots. It's like a tattoo, but without the pain or the permanency.
How much are we paying this guy?
$1 million.
The following podcast contains graphic descriptions of international celebrating and global merrymaking. It may not be suitable for angry or unhappy audience members. Listener discretion is advised. You've been warned.
Have you ever seen any of those foreign films? I don't like them.
Some are born great, others achieve greatness, and some watch Christmas movies.
We are the wild and crazy guys.
Well, they're both festive, aren't they?
And we are the festive foreign film fans. Well, howdy, Mark.
Hello, Bob. How are you today?
Oh, Mark, I'm so excited because we got the last bit of advice from our consultant that we hired for our podcast. He's been doing so well for us so far. Don't you agree?
I can neither confirm nor deny that we even have a consultant.
Come on, he's standing over there in the corner.
I believe in you, consultant.
The concern he has is our heavy appeal to boomers, which is not a surprise, I guess, because the focus groups say we spend too much time talking about retirement and our grandchildren and not enough on Taylor Swift and our socials. So we need to find a way to outreach to Gen Z, but it can't be our friend Jake because I think Jake's a millennial.
Absolutely, he is.
So the first concept he suggested was for us to develop a 4F dance for TikTok. And Mark, that's your assignment.
Yes. Yes, I can dance.
I mean, I tried a few of the moves, but I threw my back out. So we can also either do some self-tanning and get depressed, or we'll try to adopt some more youthful trends. Now, I have taken them, written them down, and I've divided them. So I'll take the boba drinks, and you get the Starbucks.
Okay.
You can vape, and I'll have the gummies.
Not a fair trade, but okay.
You wear the Ugg boots, and I'll go thrifting.
Oh, my feet.
Okay, now, you got to get ready. We have to practice some of the slang. Sick. Let's go on and slay our very dope show. We got Riz, so don't be cringe, you Chad.
Jake, you might want to call the ambulance. I think there's something going on with Bob.
And speaking of our season 2, we know we continue to offer our stickers to those listeners who can answer the trivia questions that we pose for each show. And remember, they can be Festive Foreign Film Fans stickers or our sponsors, Bun Stackers or Regurgipet. These questions are about the places we feature in each of the episodes. So last time we talked about the lush and colorful country of Brazil, and specifically what event caused the largest exodus of Americans to flee the U.S. and to settle in Brazil. And Mark, when I asked you this, do you remember what the answer was?
I do.
What was it?
It was the Civil War, when 10,000 Confederates fled the country to Brazil where they could continue the practice of slavery, which was legal in Brazil at the time.
Isn't that amazing? I had no idea that it was still legal there.
Nor did I at the time. I mean, but we've learned, though, that there's an estimated 260,000 descendants of these expatriates there, and they host an annual festival that includes Confederate flags, and the attendees eat fried chicken and peaches, and they sing Dixie, which I don't even know how to comment on that, Bob.
And Mark, guess who are the two podcast hosts they've invited to come down and entertain in a minstrel show?
Christmas cousins.
So we'll be booking our tickets to Brazil.
Oh, and it's us, darn it.
Want to watch a Christmas movie?
Christmas movies are our bread and butter.
We eat Chinese food and watch Christmas movies.
I heard it's the best Christmas movie since Home Alone.
So tonight we have Memory Box. This film is kind of unique because it kind of reminds me of the one in Slovakia, where it started in Germany and went to Slovakia. And here it starts not in the country that's being featured. It begins in Canada on Christmas Eve, and then it ends up going to Lebanon. So tonight's country is Lebanon. And the whole story revolves around a mystery box of letters, scrapbooks, and tapes that arrive on Christmas. And from this, we learn it's kind of a mother-daughter drama, but we also learn about the Lebanese Civil War, which I thought this is the most fascinating thing to me, because although the story is really about this girl trying to really understand her mother, which that might sound like more of a daughter-mother dramedy, but it's more about any of us can relate to trying to understand our parents and what they experience, especially if you had parents that were more reserved or never talked about their past and maybe had a difficult past. Watching this movie, the other thing I was struck by is my own ignorance. I knew nothing about the Lebanese Civil War, and I know it's not the first time that we've encountered war in a holiday film, and we had Carol of the Bells, and that's Ukraine and World War II, which that's a conflict we all are very familiar with here in the States, at least. We've studied it, we've read books, we've seen movies, but Lebanon, the Civil War, I mean, did you know anything about it?
Well, so the history of it, like what was behind it, no, I didn't. The only thing I'd say when we were reviewing this and the time frame it was talking about, I do recall pretty vividly the bombing in Beirut, right? When we lost all the U.S. soldiers and French soldiers that got killed in multiple bombings.
You're absolutely right. That I recall. I recall that. But other than our embassy being bombed, nothing about what else was going on. So this is another thing, a little thing that you learn about our podcast. It's kind of like how little we know about some of the countries that we visit. And even though we're touching on their Christmas traditions, the movies also oftentimes reveal history and culture of these places, which it's almost a more richer experience.
Absolutely. And it also brings forth sort of the context of the conversations in this Christmas movie happening and bringing up and maybe helping the mom or the grandma, I guess would be, maybe get over some of the hostilities and some of the sorrow in her life and maybe help her deal with what the truth was.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad that you pointed out, because it's not only the mom and the daughter, there's a grandmother there, and all of them have different experiences, but they're all intertwined on what happened here. And it just shows you, hey, it's a Christmas movie. It's not a history lesson. We don't expect that. But you know what? Sometimes we find that second and third world nations know more about us than we know about them.
Right. There in a lot of these countries, teaching of the U.S. history, teaching the English language is required. I'm really humbled by that, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you travel, like I'm about to travel and go to Greece, reading and preparing for that, I was said, like, gosh, I want to learn some phrases and things like that. And talking with several people who have been there recently, they're like, oh, don't worry about it. They all know English. And like, that was both a relief, but I also felt like dumb American, right? It
almost seems wrong. You know what I mean? That we just take it for granted.
To their country.
Yes, yeah. That they have to speak our language.
Exactly.
So it's funny, when you and I are tourists, though, as we pass through these countries, I'm sure they're like, the only thing he said to me was Merry Christmas. I don't understand.
Over and over again.
It's June. But what I like to say is the name of this movie is memory box. And I think sometimes our Christmas movies are also like this memory box. They put events in context, and that's kind of cool. But so it's memory box. Let's talk about the actors who are in the film. And I should say most of the film occurs in the 80s because it is the mother's teenage years.
Right.
So you have an actress who plays the older, the mother, and then the younger mother. So the first is Paloma Fatir. She plays Alex, and she's not Lebanese, but French. She attended the Cours Florent Drama School in Paris, but she's also a visual artist. I love these. I know we say it every time. All these actors and actresses that have other careers. It's pretty amazing.
It is.
And she is a true visual artist. And during the research, she has this exhibit called Metanova, and it was at the Galleria Continua in Paris, and another exhibition called Hardcore. This was true art. I mean, she was very talented. She's also known for appearing in Girl Squad, a TV series, which just by the name, I'd love to see what that is all about. Right. And also this film, but no English-speaking films. That's Alex, the daughter. Now the mother, Maya, and this is Rim Turkey plays the mother when she's older. Rim Turkey is a Tunisian actress and a scriptwriter. Now, her father fled from Spain to Tunisia and then later moved his family to Paris as an ambassador and secretary of state. Oh, wow. So her father was he was an ambassador. Yeah. She became an actress and has acted in a number of films, including some English-speaking for Hollywood. She was in The English Patient in 1996 and also in Munich in 2005.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've seen both of them, but don't recall her. I have to go back and look.
I think The English Patient I fell asleep in, but I saw Munich. And then Manal Issa plays the young Maya. Manal is a Lebanese French actor who was born to Lebanese parents in the French town of Angers. You know, it's interesting how they all have the French connection here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
When she was 3, her parents moved back to Beirut, and she studied engineering there. Ironically, she returned to France because of the Lebanon War, the 2006 Lebanon War. So here she's in a movie about the Civil War that happened there in the 80s. She graduated, but she was found on social media by the Lebanese director Daniel Arbid, who was looking for someone to play a young Lebanese woman in his film. So it wasn't even trying to be, she was an engineer.
Wow.
She's found on social media, and in 2022, she acted alongside her sister, Nathalie Issa, in The Swimmers, but she's not appeared in any English language films.
I always thought maybe when I was traveling that I would be in an airport and that somebody would see me and say, wow, that is one handsome-looking guy. I got to cast him in a film.
Well, Mark, now that you are retired, you'll have a lot more time to hang out at, the airport, the grocery store.
I never thought about that.
Yeah. Just put some sunglasses on.
And winkle up.
Yeah. And also your socials. Make sure you're on your socials.
Yes.
So let me tell you about Memory Box. And Mark, I don't know how you felt, but what I was kind of fascinated with, not only the story, but how the story is told, because it kind of goes back and forth between the daughter is texting and doing social media today, but then also it's told through her mother's memories in her writings, in tapes. And so it's really fascinating because it's a lot of multimedia, how they unfold the story. But it begins, I think, as we said, in Montreal. There's a blizzard. The daughter's texting. It's Christmas time. She's with her grandmother. They're making vine leaves. Which is great. For Christmas, this package comes from Lebanon, and right away, her grandmother's mood changes. She says, stay away from the box. It has bad memories. She makes the comment, we eat with the dead and the ghosts.
Right.
So it breaks open, and it's filled with all of these old journals and letters. The mother had a good friend when she was younger, and the friend fled Lebanon because of the war. And the way that the mother survived was basically writing her letters, recording tapes, and sending them to her. So the daughter feels like she doesn't really understand her mother or know much about her and wants to know more about her mother. And the grandmother is like, stay away from that box. Don't go near it because it will spoil Christmas. And the daughter doesn't understand that. The mother does come home, finds that this box is broken open, finds out that her friend has died, that the grandmother knew the friend had died and kept it from her. So you can see that it saddens the mother.
Absolutely. Yeah. Her best friend, Lisa Haber, is dead.
But the daughter wants to, and the mother doesn't want her to go through. She's like, respect my privacy. But the daughter says, I don't know anything about you. Never tell me anything about you. So, of course, what would any good teenage daughter do?
Opposite of what their mom wants them to do.
Yes.
Right.
So she busts into it to research, and she sneaks through, look through the box. She takes out pictures. She takes out notebooks.
Little cassette tapes where they recorded messages.
Yeah.
I mean, to your earlier point, like it was really cool how the story's told using cassette tapes, pictures, and even the creativity around the scrapbooks.
Yeah.
Right? Like, wow. That was, pictures folding out and
like some of the framing, and they used 80s music, and it really was well done. And even I liked sometimes where they would go back and forth and you would see the daughter texting her friends, because she's also sharing this with her friends. And what is interesting is she starts to tell her friends, and of course they're encouraging her to go through and look at all this stuff. And at first, I think it's like innate curiosity, but then it becomes kind of an obsession, don't you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, the more she unfolds, right? The more she learns about her mommy. It's a cute part where she's texting her friend saying she used to smoke, and her girlfriend's like, hypocrite, right? So I'm sure she's refused her the ability to smoke.
And then when you see what the mother went through, you're like, I would have smoked too.
And drank and did drugs.
So what we learn from this is her father is the principal of the school. Yep. And he is committed to nonviolence. And around him is this raging civil war. And his core belief is that education, knowledge, that is the key to resolving this dispute. So he refuses to leave. So they are in the midst of a war going on around them and trying to lead a fairly normal life. But you see the school getting bombed and checkpoints, and they're not having to go into a bomb shelter. But Maya does meet a boy named Raha, and he's a DJ on the radio.
Right.
Yep. And they start to develop a relationship while this is going, different things start to unfold. Like the grandma keeps telling her, don't look into the past. The past stinks. It's bad. Look forward. They find an old camera that still has film in it, and the mother takes the camera to develop the photos. And you start to see these vignettes of various things that happened to her in her life. Yeah. The meeting of the boy, how he gets pulled into, he starts to believe you got to fight. Right. You have to pick a side, and he's picking a side. Not only are the parents concerned about her relationship with the boy, but also this is a boy now getting involved in the war. You see these images of the people who are left there. There's a war going on, but they still have dance parties, and it's just, I think, an escape.
Yeah, they're trying to make the best of it. I mean, that's not even the right thing to say, the best of it. They're trying to survive, right? They're really in this, and seeing the images in the movie memory box and compare those to the images we've seen in our TV the last year with the war in Ukraine, the recent troubles in Jerusalem and with Israel and Hamas, like I don't know, it made it more real for me.
Yes.
Right. There's this movie, but I'm also seeing this on TV at the same time. There's not that the rationale and the reasons people are fighting are the same, but the effects of war on young children and youth is still the same.
Well, and you're right, because it becomes relevant when you think, wow, there are people living their lives in Ukraine now, trying to go about their business while buildings are being blown up, and people and your family members are off on the front and all that. And that's exactly what's happening here. And I guess, one of the things you learn is that the grandfather was murdered, and that's why the grandmother, I think, is upset. And also Maya's brother was killed as well.
Right.
And that has really torn the family apart. So the family is not only the father trying to make his way being nonviolent through this, but also they've lost a son.
Right.
And that's tearing at the family. And then they have to go into a bomb shelter for 5 days.
I know.
With their neighbors. And this is where, while she's in the bomb shelter, she's writing letters to her friend. She's recording tapes for her friend. And it's interesting because her friend has left she went to Paris.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But she she comes back as well. And so it's kind of like Maya's pouring out her heart and telling her all about all the things that are happening here. When her friend comes back, it's almost like there's a disconnect. You know what I mean? Her friend has a nice life in Paris. She is struggling so much because her parents are keeping her from Raj. And then his parents send him to Russia.
Right.
He disappears. She never sees him again after that. Her father, the school is bombed and then the school is closed.
Right.
And so that has stripped away his moral center,
Absolutely.
He had such faith that just education and, we can get through this. And now he feels like all that he believed in has been wiped away. So he starts drinking.
Yep. And
he's drinking. There's no passion left in him. But the mother, once again, here's a mother character holding this all together.
Trying
to hold it all together. Events occur. They leave. They go to Canada.
Yeah.
So when her friend comes to visit, she's out, they're out again in their dance party and all that. And you can tell that Maya's just not feeling it anymore. Raj left. Her dad is struggling and they're all dancing and having fun and she just can't fake it.
Right.
But she loves her friend and they're very tender. They hug each other and they fall asleep. In the middle of the night, she realizes her friend isn't there and she walks out and she sees her friend talking to her father. And the father is clearly confessing all of his issues and problems to her. And she kind of feels violated, that this somehow is violated. Like she's been telling her friend everything or been telling her friend most everything, but keeping certain things private. And now it's all out there in the open. So she cuts herself off from her friend. So Raz has left. Right. Her friend is gone. She's cut herself off. And now she goes to Canada. And maybe that's the reason why with her daughter, she just doesn't talk about the past or anything that occurred in the past. Now they go to Canada. She said, the mother says that my whole world vanished. Right. She started all over. Now that the daughter has learned this, she has a confrontation with her mom. And it was kind of like the resolution. You know what I mean? There needed to have this head-to-head fight. And then there was resolution. And she convinces her mother to go back to Lebanon for the memorial service for her friend.
I mean, Alex tells her mom, right? I mean, it's like, it's not my fault that you are sad and have lost your passion. I mean, I thought that was such a pivotal line in the movie.
And cutting.
Yeah.
Very cutting, but honest. And I think it was almost the slap that her mother needed, And not that her mother needed a slap. She didn't. She had experienced so much, but it was they tore off the Band-Aid. Let's deal with the pain.
If you think about it, the grandma, when Maya was growing up, tried to do everything she could do to protect her. And now that's what she's doing with her daughter. So she didn't like when her mother did things to her and when they were living in Beirut, she was doing the same thing to her daughter.
Yes.
Not telling her the truth, not letting her have access, not revealing her own emotions, right, to her daughter and letting her know what her life was, right? I mean, her life is almost heroic in that she survived.
Oh, absolutely. And what you love about the film, and, there are things that I want someone to watch this to really experience it, but I can at least talk about some of the things at the end because they're just so uplifting. She goes back to Lebanon. She goes to the memorial service. All her old friends show up at the memorial service that she hasn't seen for years. They're all open. They're so happy to see her. And they have their little dance party. And it's funny, they do Blondie's One Way or Another appears in the film like 3 times. And it's very pivotal, the song. And they all dance to it. And when they're dancing to it 40 years later, it really is so cool to see. And to see her mother smile.
Right.
And that's kind of on the end that the movie ends. And the grandmother asked her to record the son in Lebanon because she said the son in Canada never had the same strength that she remembers from Lebanon. And so she just takes these pictures of sun in various parts of Lebanon and you see how it's been rebuilt. And it ends on such a hopeful note.
It does.
And what I should say is in the background in Lebanon, there's Christmas decoration. Did you see that?
There is.
Yeah,
there
is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And early part in the movie.
In the earlier part. Yeah, in Canada, there's definitely the tree and but I love the fact that where they're in Lebanon, there's Christmas decoration stuff. And that was my lead in to say, so is this festive? Is this a Christmas movie?
I got pretty quickly to the answer, yes. I think it is a Christmas movie. Again, not only for the scenery, but we've talked about this before, but just at Christmas time, people having their hearts be open just a little bit more. And so I'd say I know what we're going to say about recommended, but one thing I'd say that we haven't talked about in the movie is throughout the movie, right, it ends up being a love story.
Yes.
It ends up being sort of a grandparent trying to protect her granddaughter and the daughter and protecting her daughter. And like, it just like there's also like, there's a denial of the truth throughout the movie. And the truth is revealed. And then we haven't talked about what the truth was. And we don't have to hear, because I think that is part of the exploration of the movie. But I do think it's a Christmas movie that is really well done.
You know, I'm so glad, because we're on the same wavelength. Some people might argue, oh, it's just window dressing, the Christmas in the background. No, this is a Christmas story. Mm-hmm. My gosh, in terms of the emotional evolution, where this goes, the growth in all the characters, how they end up at the end, they're like redeemed and reborn. And I thought it was just made me want to put on Blondie. Dance around the room.
One way or another, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you. You know me. I'll sing it.
You will. So, Mark, then clearly it made you feel pretty good. Then.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. That's it. This gave me all the feels I want out of my Christmas movie. You know, I don't mind some sadness, some drama, but I love it when it resolves itself in a way that you feel triumphant and joyous and future.
Oh, I would watch this in the future. Absolutely.
I would. And I'm not kidding. I want people, if you're interested in filmmaking, this is a real interesting study on how they frame this film, I think, because it has all kinds of different elements, even in terms of telling the story in vignettes.
Yeah. Bob, you didn't mention this, but this is a true story.
What it is?
It is. So the writer, director, the producer, Joan, I think it's called Haji Thomas. This is in her own admission is loosely this story is based loosely on her own personal events in Beirut and in Canada.
I had no idea. That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Do you think those were her real notebooks?
I wonder, right? She does take incredible creative license with the whole movie, but yeah, this is a keeper. This is just a good movie.
Well, and the thing is, the reason why I was saying that, her notebooks and all that, if they weren't, the lengths that they went to create these, I mean, it was pretty impressive,
Extremely.
They seem very genuine.
Yeah. I mean, this is an early on top favorite in season 2.
Oh, woo! The odds makers are marking that down, Mark. So I take it then you would recommend it to others. Yeah, absolutely. That's good.
And we'll watch it again. I'm confident that I will.
Ooh, that's great. Okay. And we're going to have a festive foreign film fan marathon, rooftop marathon.
Woohoo.
Okay. So, Mark, this is a good one. Do you want to hear how to say Merry Christmas in Lebanese?
I want to learn.
Okay. So you say Malid Majid.
Malid Majid.
So to wish someone Merry Christmas in the Lebanese dialect, you say Malid Majid. Christmas means Malid and Merry means Majid. Also, many Lebanese people will use the French greeting Joyous Noel. I mean, they will because, it was a French colony. So, and we've heard that before, obviously. Now, what's also interesting in looking this up and trying to determine, how they say Merry Christmas, there is another greeting that they have. And this is a good one,
There's
too.
There's a limit on
now, so you don't need this one. I still need this one with my children, though. If you are single, you also will hear a lot of nefra Menik for girls and Nefra manak for boys, which means we want to be happy for you. And this is like the expression that the aunts and the uncles and grandma used to basically say, when are you getting married?
That's the worst.
So I'm just going to get a sweatshirt made up that says, and I have one of each. So I'm going to have Nephra-Manik and Nephra-Manak on each.
Front and back.
Front and back. Oh, so let's learn some of these French Christmas customs in Lebanon.
Okay.
So ever since it became independent from France, they walk this fine tightrope because they have a Muslim and a Christian population. But Christmas plays a pivotal role not just for the Christians, but also for some of the Muslims, because for these Muslims will recognize that Jesus was a rebel. He was someone who freed the slaves. He was a prophet who is featured in the Quran. So they, again, they don't see him as the son of God, but they don't have a problem. They like his rebellious nature, that he frees slaves, and that he is a prophet. So there is this famous colorful tree that is in front of the Al Amin Mosque in central Beirut. They light up a Christmas tree, and that's their way of demonstrating the coexistence of their Christian and Islam communities.
Oh, I like that.
Isn't that great?
A lot. Yes.
Now, having said that, I don't want to portray that it's universal.
Right.
I mean, there are some Muslims that don't believe you should have any association with Christmas at all. And some will say no decorations, other rituals, all forbidden. And some of the Lebanese Muslims have said, look, I get text messages and pamphlets saying don't participate in Christmas. But there is a strong group of them that recognize that the Christmas holiday. They also, we've heard this in other countries too, St. Barbara.
Right.
They recognize a St. Barbara, and on this feast of St. Barbara, that's on December the 4th. And St. Barbara is the patron saint of firefighters, soldiers, and those who have dangerous professions. So on the night before December 4th, the kids and the adults will dress up in costumes, kind of like Halloween. And the reason why is because St. Barbara, she had a very brutal, overbearing father. And for her to sneak out and escape, she would put costumes on. So guess what they do? They dress up in costume and they roam their neighborhoods looking for treats like chocolate or money. It's like Halloween.
Or goats.
Yeah.
No goats.
Yeah. So according to legend, the kids will scream, Hesali yo Barbara. Hesali ya Barbara, meaning imploring Barbara to escape. That means Barbara escape, because that's what she had to do from her brutal dad. The treats, though, not like here in the States, the treats are not free. The children have to pay for them by either singing a song or by dancing, accompanied by tambourines or the durbek, which is a form of a hand drum. And there's a special song for this occasion. And so if they perform, the host will give them a good treat, then they get the treat, and then they have to sing a song. So they have to perform,
awesome.
Get the treat, sing a song. So sometimes the song will end with a compliment for the people who gave them the treat. Sometimes it'll end with a innocent insult, and then they run away.
Smart.
And one other activity that they do, and this is kind of cute, they plant wheat seeds or beans or lentils or something. They plant them on wool. And I don't know if you remember, I think I did this in grammar school. You can plant the beans on wool and they will grow like the ground and you could see them. So usually they plant them on December 1st. They get up to, a couple inches by December 25th. So just in 3 weeks, they grow that fast. And then they'll use them in their nativity scene.
No, I never knew that. What a cool thing to do.
Yeah. And the last one, this is a fun one because, Mark, this is another one. Mark this down because I may need your help in doing this. But
oh, no.
Dabki, it's a traditional dance which is usually performed during the Christmas season. The participants join hands and they move about in a circle or a semicircle to a variety of native tunes and the darbuka, which is a golden drum. It's a traditional Lebanese instrument. Now, in most instances, these dances are planned in advance, so people will come in very festive and eye-catching holiday outfits. But this is the fun part. The origins of dabki are traced back to the design of their homes in the past.
Wow.
Because the way that they were made, the roofs were made of tree branches, and then there was mud put on them. And because of the rainy weather in Lebanon and the rainy winters, the roofs would get, because the mud had dried, right? But sometimes it would crack and it would leak. So you'd have to repair your roof. And what that would mean is you'd have to get up there and forcefully stomp on the mud.
Oh my God.
So it's like that was the way you repaired it, by stomping. Probably, I assume, put more mud down and stomp on it.
The cracks, yeah.
But it was not a one-man job. So the owners would ask his neighbors to help. And so they'd all stand side by side in a single line, and then they stomp in sync, right? When they'd be walking around on the roof. And then this was known at the time as al-auna, meaning to help, but to help with the synchronization, so they could all do it in the same movement. They would play music and they'd stomp together, and to make it even more fun, right? And they'd use traditional instruments. One was called the mejwiz, which is the double flute. And this is where the Dabki dance was born.
That is a great, I think we can do this.
So Mark, next time I have a leak on my roof, I'm getting you, your sons, my sons. We're holding hands and we're going to dance along the rooftop.
Yeah, your roof's kind of high, but as long as I have a safety harness, that's a great tradition.
I know, I love it.
This calls for some Christmas music.
Yes, this Christmas music.
What kind of Christmas music is that?
The least you could do is play some Christmas music.
Now back to Christmas music.
And how about some Lebanese music?
Let's do it. I'd love to hear it.
Mark, I think I saw some of those belly dancing moves that you have left over from your son's wedding.
I did it. Jai Papa Noel.
So this song's from the year 2000, and it's sung by Lebanese singer Pascal Sakar. And she's known for combining traditional Middle Eastern sounds with modern pop. Her repertoire includes songs that are sung in Lebanese Arabic, French, and English. So just to make us feel like we haven't done enough in our lives, she's also a lawyer, and a top singer, and she's the daughter of a Lebanese nationalist fighter, Etienne Sakar, a former member of the Lebanese forces.
Wow.
Her younger sister is also a Lebanese pop star named Carol Sakar. And this song is from the album Pascal Sings Christmas, and it's an upbeat, happy song calling for Santa Claus. What I love about it is the lyrics describe how Papa Noel comes from a distant star, not the North Pole, a distant star with gifts and happy moments, and it encapsulates all the joy and excitement of the holiday season.
Jai Papa Noel.
I just how do you move your stomach like that? That's what I'm just wondering.
It's hard not, when I move, it's hard not to move my stomach.
Okay, so here. It's our favorite new section, our festive foreign fun facts.
It's trivia. Trivia.
Today's topic is Lebanon. There is a sticker on the line, so good luck to our listeners. I love to see what all the various things out there to think about. And the first I was going to ask about Stuart Copeland. He's the drummer from the Police.
Yeah.
Well, his father was a spy in Beirut during the Cold War. How about that?
Incredible.
Maybe that's where police came from, but
maybe.
Or in Lebanon, they made a massive bowl of hummus to get into the Guinness Book of World Records because they wanted people around the world to recognize that hummus comes from Lebanon.
I love hummus.
So, and then I even thought about how the world's most expensive soap is made in Lebanon.
Did not know that.
It costs $2,800 a bar because the bar is infused with gold and diamond dust. So think about all those facts. Those are all amazing. But I did find one that I thought, that sounds very interesting. There is a Lebanese village named Bashari. This location, it's a small village, but it's produced 5 famous individuals with the same thing in common. What is it?
I think I know.
Do you?
Yeah, I think they're all members of the of this group Blonde. I'm going to get you one way or another.
That would be so funny if that was the case. They're all the backup to Blondie. All right. And so on our way out, Mark,
Yes.
I have a quote for you.
Yes.
And this is probably very appropriate given our movie's topic about a civil war in a country. Christmas is a time of peace, of acceptance, and of making every world a better place. And that's by S.E. Smith.
Well said. Well said. Great movie today. Great conversation.
Mark, always fun to be with you, especially when you do the Middle East belly dance. That's just, we got to get video for this. We got to go on YouTube.
You have to. You're going to have to pay me a lot more to go on YouTube doing my belly dance.
Doing that, Papa Noel, and then the two of us just pogoing around the studio to one way or another. I've got to get you.
That's right.
All right, fans, we want you to answer our question so we can send you out a sticker. If you get it right, you get a choice of podcast stickers. Send your submissions to festivefans@gmail.com or via Messenger on our Facebook page, and we'll let you know if you win. So, and you can also follow us on X, Threads, Instagram, however you do your socials.
All right, it's a wrap.
Thanks, Mark.
Actually, we're done.
Done.
It's over. It's over.
It's over, kaput, finito.
It's over. It's over. It's over.
This has been a Waysound Studio production.
And sound engineering on our show is by Jake Fontana.